Oh, shit.
So this is about where we left off last class. Again, I asked any questions about last class, about the stuff we learned so far. So just to circle back to last class, refresh our memory. We did a little bit of the history of Hebrew. As we know, there's a lot of influences to the language, historical ones, gaps that thinkers, when reviving the language, had to fill in. That creates for a lot of inconsistencies in the language when writing. We have a lot of irregulars, very much like English. It's important to keep that in mind when learning, so in the future, when we continue and encounter such irregulars, we'll know this is why it's an irregular. A chair is an irregular. It came from Aramaic. When pluralized, it conjugates different. We'll get to that. Any questions about that so far? Richard Stone and Ben and Rebecca, you guys got the worksheet for lesson 2 on the chat, or do I need to send it again?
Yeah, we've got it.
Okay, awesome. In that case, we will continue then. We have our presentation here and this in front of us. Okay, so our next letter then, today's business. Today what I want to achieve today is really to finish the alphabet and do the vowels. Maybe the particle the, our equivalent in Hebrew to the. Let's see what we make, what we accomplish, hopefully at all. So just quick refresher about last time. Aleph, first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Vet, without the emphasis, our first vowel, the dot in the middle. When it has a dot in the middle, it becomes a bet. So vet, its functionality, its sound, its behavior will be equivalent to V. This one will be equivalent to B, okay, in the way it behaves and the way it sounds. Gimel, so yeah, as it sounds, it's with a G. That will be equivalent to a G. We did say that J does not exist in Hebrew. If we want to do that, we will add an apostrophe to the Gimel, and then it will be a J, okay, or a J sound. Continuing on, Daled, equivalent to D in the way it sounds. Another apostrophe here gives us the name of the creator. We see it many times in the Bible. Hey, if we do the apostrophe, it's the most common name of the creator, how we refer to him. The way this letter behaves is like an H, a ha, hey, hello sound. Vav, last time we said there's a little bit specific, it's a little bit specific. Alone, it will usually come with a vowel. We will learn about them today, either like this or like this. It will sound differently with each different vowel. We'll get to that today. But the difference is, again, between V sound or a W sound. If we want a W sound, usually what we will do is double vowels. You will see Israelis getting it wrong and using one vav, which is where we go to context and understand what the person really meant. Continuing on. Zion, as we remember, there's another version of the Hunchback. One take back from last week is really the fonts. There are many fonts. You see some of them on the worksheet and in our class presentation. I will say when writing print is almost like box writing. Let's say I want to do, let's take the one someone was having difficulty. Let's say I want to do pay. I didn't get to it in a minute. It's really just, that was like 4, 5, 90-degree angles. It's that you can rest assured it does not come to my hand easily. I need to focus doing it, which is why we have the handwritten alphabet. Continuing on. So that was Zion. We have Chet. we spoke about the differences between chet and chaf. Chet is a lot lighter in the way it sounds, and it's supposed to be almost an H. Almost an H. Chaf will be a lot more throaty. We don't use that way anymore. Some older Israelis do. For the sake of the matter, Tet. Same story with Taf. Last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, we will get to it. They will sound the same. We spoke about it last time. Yud, equivalent to Y. Sometimes, rare times, we will see it equivalent to I. We'll talk about it. Mem, equivalent to M, very easily, to be honest. It has the final or finally version this way. I did, if you notice on your worksheet, on that first exercise, there's a letter that has brackets and then S in it. And then that's because S looks a lot like final mem, if we are talking about fonts. I'll get to that in a second, but this is what I meant on the worksheet. Another word on the worksheets, I do understand that some of it, like the vowels, we did not get to yet. My hope is to create like a good little booklet of exercises for you to refer back to. So hopefully once we do vowels today, our last class's worksheet is still relevant. And noon, where we left off, equivalent to N, that too has a final version. We see it here. Note that it is a lot longer than Vav. Sometimes I exaggerate the length to make sure people understand. Continuing on, the next letter is Samech. Samech. Transliterating it. Remember, the KH is a Ch. Samech. It is equivalent, as we just said, to an S. Questions about Samech? Let's think about a word with Samech. Semel. Semel is like a symbol or a sigil. For example, I can ask someone, what's that emblem too? It can also be an emblem. What's that symbol? What's that emblem? It'll look like this. Vowel. Transliteration. Samech. Questions about Samech?
Would there ever be a samach at the end of a word?
Sometimes, yeah, but it would look the same.
Okay.
Good question. Anyone else? Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us. Do you get a worksheet? Awesome. Thank you.
Matani, I have a question.
Yes, please.
You mentioned that Dalet with an apostrophe is one of the divine names.
Well, maybe name is not an accurate way to say it. This is how we write, or when writing, refer to him.
Is it a pronounceable?
We will say,
is it shorthand for Adonai?
we will say Adonai to that.
Okay.
Or Elohim. Elohim. Does that answer?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions before I'm continuing on? Continuing on. At home, any questions? Sorry, I already erased, but yeah. Trying to make a habit of referring to home. Our next letter is an annoying one. You'll hear it a lot on the Ballad of the Weeping Spring, the last recommendation I'll give you, and on Maktub a little bit. I want to encourage everyone again to watch the movie series, and tomorrow hopefully I'll be sending a playlist of music. This is how it is. Ein. This letter is called ein. It's also a word. It means an eye, a singular eye. Let me write it down. So the way it sounds to me in transliteration is really ayin. Any disagreements on how to pronounce it? Ein.
Can you also write it E-I-N?
To answer your question, sir, and get right into what I wanted to say about how it's problematic. It's another sound. We've spoken about repeating sounds. Is probably the first one that we lost. The reason for that is because it's very throaty, very throaty. We see it in the Shema, just for example. Shema Israel, we see it here. In Sephardic prayer books, for example, you will always see like a little bracket between it where that says emphasize the ayin. It's supposed to be ayin. Hello, sir. Good evening. Good to see you. But that's the first sound we lost. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. It serves for the most part like an aleph. We need to know sometimes it won't. There really is no better way than just to remember this, to remember that it's there. The way it sounds is we're very throaty. Shema, Shema. That's how it's supposed to hear. Obviously, nowadays we don't use it that way. We will use it as an aleph. Truth be told. So throaty aleph. I also want to say that ein, the word, let's write it down, means a single eye. We are on the topic of it. So yeah, this is one of those occasions where tonality is very important. We do hear it on certain songs, certain movies, certain conversations. That's about it. Any questions about it? Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. I'm continuing on. Do I need to write it again? The ein? No.
A question on the pronunciation.
Please?
I've often pronounced it ani. Is that correct? Sounds like I'm
Sorry?
doing it wrong.
The word, sir?
Yeah, with the I, it's talking about ani.
So you mean about I? So I.
Correct. I.
As in me. Ani. With an olive.
Yeah, and the definition of that would be to describe myself.
Yes, sir. Me.
Okay, so I'm pronouncing it right by saying ani.
Yes, sir. Actually, very well.
Okay, toda.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Carrying on. So after ayin, we have pay. We just spoke about it. This is a specific letter. So we have the one with the emphasis and the one without the emphasis. Okay. This is also relevant to a question asked from home during the week. This is specific. Here's why. When it has the emphasis, it'll behave like a P. When it does not have the emphasis, it'll behave like an F. Both are called pay. Sometimes we'll hear people call this pay. Yeah. So P, F, that's what it's equivalent for. Let's think about a word.
Potiphar,
Sorry,
Potiphar for P. Potiphar, the guy that had Joseph, and, he was working, Joseph worked for him, Potiphar, and his wife, for P, and for Faye, could do.
yeah, good job, good example, sir. So Yosef, actually, and we have because we get to it, and it has a Finley version. But that's not fun enough. The Finley version will look like this.
Fine.
So in Joseph, we will have a Finley pay or Finley fail, final fail. Another example I have is the word family, mishpacha, mishpacha. Write it down. Can anyone see it? Can everyone see it?
What is that?
Mishpacha, that stands for family. I'll also transliterate. Mishpacha. This one? This? We'll get this in a minute. This indicates a functionality about the second letter. We'll get to that in a second. So mishpacha, family, mishpacha. Joseph, final pay or fay. Remember, when it has the emphasis, it serves as a P. When it does not, it serves as an F. Questions thus far? You were going to ask something, Tyler? Continuing on. After pay, we have tzaddik. You may notice on your Hebrew helpers, the official name is tzaddik. You write it down. And by all means, do bring your Hebrew helpers for next classes too. This one serves as a TZ or a TS. So it's ts. The way it's called is actually something the rabbi corrected me on. In Hebrew, we refer to this letter as tzaddik. Tzaddik. It's actually wrong. The name of it is tzaddik. The reason I'm bringing this up is first and foremost to show you that even Israelis make mistakes. And second of all is that those mistakes can be embedded into our language. The reason why we used to call it tzaddik is because the word tzaddik literally means a righteous man. And we slur like every other people. We slur, we swallow letters and words. Somehow tzaddi became tzaddik. Just because it's a good word to remember, I want to write it down. A righteous man or a righteous woman will be tzaddikah. We'll get to that later. Tzaddik. And then for a female, it will be with another hey. So tzaddik. And then if it's female, there will be another vowel underneath. Equivalent to TZ, so ts. There's no ch in Hebrew. So CH does not exist in Hebrew. If we want to do CH, which will have to mean we're trying to say something outside of Hebrew, we will add an apostrophe to tzaddik. Any questions about Sadiq? Okay, so it's even try. I keep calling it Sadiq, but it's Sadiq. Yeah. Questions at home? Like not. Let's continue on. And forgive me for rushing through the alphabet. To be honest with you, I'm dying to be done with it. Simply because once we do, the learning becomes a lot faster. There's no workaround to doing this. You don't have to do anything, but by all means, sit down and write. Because you need to be able to identify the letters on cue. Yeah. Continuing on, we have Kuf. 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 That is equivalent in how it behaves to a K. It also is very, very, very similar to a Chaf with an emphasis on it. Both will make a K sound, a very full K. Let's think of a word. Wallet. Wallet or purse, we will use the same word interchangeably. So for a woman's purse or a man's wallet, it will be arnak. Let's write it down. Arnak. Transliteration. Means wallet or a purse. And we see it here. And as you can see, it has no final version, stays the same shape. Very conveniently functions as a K. The reason I keep saying conveniently is because some don't conveniently, and we need to become creative. Any questions about Kuf? Any questions at home about Kuf? Did everyone finish writing it down? Sir, can you see it from there? Okay, then I'm continuing on. After Kuf, we have the infamous Resh. We already spoke about it a little bit. We see it here. So I'll just keep the example, unless I think of a better one too. Oh yeah, I have a better example. Resh. In the biblical books, the biblical font is always extravagant. Sometimes you'll see the Resh with a little bit of a tail here to the upwards direction. The most common is really just like this, as we can see here. So this is Resh. Very conveniently, very, very conveniently, behaves like an R. And I have a better example than this one. The word passport in Hebrew. The word passport, if you ever go to Israel, you're shown to use it. So passport will be darkon. Darkon. So here we have the resh. We have our emphasized kaf, final noon, and this transliterates to darkon. Passport. Okay, so we have our resh here. It has a vowel. We'll talk about this vowel soon. A word to remember: passport, darkon. Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask a question.
Please,
When I learned on the Hebrew biblical,
please.
the two dots at the end of a word when they came in the middle or in between, yes. When they came after a vowel or the word, it was always pronounced darhon instead.
Here?
Darhon. No, yes, that word was silent. It went with the D-A-R.
Yeah.
Darhon instead of darhon.
I'm not hearing a difference actually, except here.
Right there.
I heard darkon.
Darkon.
And this, we will get to this later in the class. This means no vowel.
Right.
So
Right.
so ra, re, ri, ru, dar. We'll talk about this in a second. Does that answer, sir?
Perfect.
Any questions at home? Any other questions in the classroom? Yes, sir,
I know you want to get to it later, but I just,
please.
for my own thinking process. So when you have those two dots, I don't know what they're called, like that,
Yeah.
does that mean like the end of a syllable?
Good question.
Because I know emphasis is on the end syllable of words. Is this where you get another, are we adding an emphasis by doing this?
No,
Okay.
no. What we are, this literally means read it naked. So remember how last time I said Aleph Bet Gimel will be without vowels will be good. So this we call it a vowel, but it literally means no vowel.
Thank you.
Does that answer, sir?
Yes.
Jason, sorry.
That's okay.
And if there are no other questions, I am continuing on. So we're almost finishing our Hebrew alphabet. Okay. Very important letter comes next with an important cap. This is about, I forgot who asked. I think you, man, about this. This letter is called Sheen. Charlie Sheen, exactly. I'm going to add a companion to it. This is seen. This is another functionality of a letter we lost. And just to put it out there, you will always also see it like this. I like doing it like this. You will see it like this. I'll give an example in a second. This, we never see anymore, except two examples I'm going to give. This is the equivalent of SH, obviously. Shin, sh, sha, sha, sha. Equivalent to SH. And this is equivalent to an S. Another repetitive function we no longer use. Where do we see it? In the name Israel, in the name Sarah. Let's write it down. Just for the sake of mixing it up, I'll write it like this time. Is here. Israel. Is there a question? Sorry.
No, I understood.
Israel, this is where we see it. We barely use it nowadays. The sin, we barely use it. We will use a samech. Another example would be Sarah. The name Sarah will be like this. Sarah. I do want to say one thing about this. I want you to keep it in mind, but in the back seat, we will not be using C on extreme situations. And I just gave you two-thirds of it. But we will see sh being used. We just had the Shema. Let's think of another good word. Shalom. Let's write it down. Can anyone see if I write here? Yeah, that's an achievement, huh? Shalom. Hello or peace, of course. So yeah, the dot will be here on the right. To be honest with you, I only remembered where the dot is and at a very late, embarrassing age. I want you to remember that it's there, but also remember we barely use it. So what we will see is the regular version, Shin, Sh, equivalent to Sh, Shalom, Israel with the Sin, Sarah with the Sin, and Shalom with the regular Shin. Shin, 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 Charlie Sheen. Any questions about Shin? I did get one, I think, good feedback about last class is to have people write. That'll definitely come later when we have words to write, not just letters that I'm dying to get after. Please do write. Use your worksheets. You don't have to. It will help you. Continuing on. And then I'm happy to hear, bless you, a bunch of you guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, have been watching our recommended movies and the series. I will continue to provide more recommendations. Do that. Immersion will give you something I can't. Continuing on. So that was Shin and Sin. Now Taf, which is the last letter of the alphabet. I do want to brush up on our finals real quick before I do that. So Taf. I'll exit my WhatsApp. Taf. You may remember it from my comparison to Shet. As I said, both will be equivalent to a T. Usually, though, we will see tet in foreign words. Telegram, telephone. Telephone is not in Hebrew, but we will see it with a tet. Taf will usually be for the Hebrew original words, originating words. Yeah, very conveniently behaves as a T. I will say, because we don't have a TH in Hebrew, the way we compensate is an apostrophe again. We rarely see it, rarely. Questions about Taf?
Doesn't somehow pronounce it an S?
This letter? That's the other letter. So the one sounding like S would be Shin with the dot on the left.
No, what I'm saying is sometimes when you see it, it's pronounced modern Hebrew. I never know when it's or
I think it's the Ashkenaz versus the Sephardi.
Yeah, trying to say tall and final solve. Tall, solve.
Sometimes it will be softer. There's really no rules or grammar rules, and as to when does it do that, it's depending on the word. I never encountered that, to be honest, in terms of softer. In Israel we slur. Sorry.
So what he's talking about is Ashkenazi versus Sephardi dialect, and a good example is Shabbat versus Shabbos.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
both written the same,
Mhm.
but the pronunciations are different depending on which dialect community.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get it right. Thank you both.
But like in the prayer after you're reading the Torah.
So good question. That's actually not in Hebrew, sir. That's in Yiddish.
No,
Shabbos?
the prayer, it's Hebrew, but it's the difference between Ashkenaz in Sephardi dialect, since we're talking about conversational Hebrew related to Israel, the pronunciations are Sephardi. That's what Israel adopted, and that's what he's teaching. Got it.
Sir,
Okay.
just to remove any doubt, and thank you both, you will not hear Shabbos unless you actively go to the closed, segregated Orthodox communities. You will hear Shabbat.
Okay.
Okay, so it will always be a Tav, always be. Unless you're going to the Orthodox communities, and they will expect you to speak Yiddish anyway. Any other questions? Questions at home? I will say, I don't know if you heard, there was a discussion here about, for example, Shabbos versus Shabbat. Both will end with a Tav. The Ashkenazis will say Shabbos. Usually, we will not hear it in Israel. We will use it as a T. Okay, unless you go to very segregated Orthodox communities. Continuing on, I do wanna. This concludes the Aleph Bet. I do wanna circle back to our Finales real quick, just so I'll know in my heart I did them well. And this picture, by the way, as you can see, it's not the greatest, it's the best one I found that shows the arrows.
We're not seeing your screen on Zoom.
I'm gonna share screen really for a moment.
Yeah.
I'm referring to this page. Okay, so this picture that I have already showed on the last class, you have it on your worksheet 1 and 2. So this is the one I'm referring to. Back home, if you saw, now I'm gonna switch back to the board again. So yeah, the reason why I bring this up is because it made me forget some stuff, because Chaf, for example, as you can see on the picture, it just gives you both versions, and then in the end, it gives you the Finley. Chaf has a final version. You will either see it like this or like this. It will do the same thing with or without an emphasis. It's a bit more clear. And now the other font would be like this. Again, emphasis, no emphasis, same functionality. Next, finally, we have noon, if I'm going by order. Yeah. We saw some examples of it. Yeah, every font, it will look like this for the most part. We see it in Ben Gurion. David Ben Gurion. Ben Gurion. Ben Gurion. 2 final noons, and we got a surprise bet with an emphasis. Continuing on. We had pay. Its final version will look like this. Same thing with the emphasis or no emphasis. Doesn't change for the final version. Tzaddik, I forgot about that one because it doesn't do it next to it. Let's go back to it. We said tzaddik is a TZ or a TS, so it's a ts sound. This final version will look like this. And the handwriting version is very confusing. That's another example of something I got down at a very embarrassing later age. This is what a final tzaddik will look like. You see it at the final letter at the bottom of that picture I referred to. And we have our mem. We saw mem. Final mem. And I'm not forgetting anything. Questions so far? Questions at home? About Tzaddik, about anything? I am continuing. And now I am gonna switch to our presentation and share screen,
A question on Sodic again,
please.
on the worksheet. The list of the alphabet,
Yeah.
where is that? I'm
Let
lost
me-
here.
Let me go back to the worksheet. So you see it on, worksheet lesson 2, is that the one you're looking at, sir?
I think I'm on lesson 1.
Okay, let me open up lesson 1.
Yeah, I'm on lesson 1.
Yeah, so as you can see, exercise 2, for example, it's on one row before the last. Let me even share screen so I can show you.
Yeah, that'll be easier. If you can put it on the screen, it'll be faster for everyone.
Can you see it now? Can you see my screen, sir?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
where are
so
you?
this is lesson 1.
Mhm.
Exercise 2, we have it here. So this is the
Ah,
regular version, and then the final version is here.
okay,
We also have it here on exercise 1, row 2. And this is the image I was referring to again. Let's see.
right. Can you just identify the image?
Sorry,
I've lost you on the image.
this one. So this is page 2.
Okay, so you're on, hey, in other words, was that where your cursor was?
Ask that again, sir.
I've lost your cursor. Can you just put your cursor where we're discussing? Ah,
Okay,
okay,
so here's Tzadi.
gotcha.
Move your cursor slower. It's moving so fast we can't see it.
Okay,
Any other questions, sir?
no, that'll do it for the present.
It's the bottom row on
Yeah.
the far left.
So yeah, as you can see, they did the chaf,
Ah,
they separated the final version there at the end. But yeah,
okay,
the final Tzadi is also here. And if that's clear, I'm gonna go back to my presentation.
okay, carry on.
Thank you, sir. We have the handwriting, and let's get to the vowels. So yeah, we already did this. Here's a very bad picture of vowels, but it's the best one I found that I knew will be projected well on a screen. Let's get right down to it. So we have several vowels here. We don't have all of the vowels on this image, and we are not gonna use all of the vowels on this image as well. Okay, repeating that, we are not gonna use all of the vowels on this image. No one in Israel uses the vowels on this image, all of them at least, except for people who write Torah scrolls, write prayer books, and whatever. Let's continue. I'm gonna start left to right from the top. So with the first one, I'm putting my cursor on it, under it. It's kamatz. Okay, I'm making it big. Let's. Okay, I'm making it big on purpose. It's really not that big. Can everyone see it well? You can see it, sir? This vowel is called kamatz. And here's a hint, the names of the vowels will sound the way that they sound. So kamatz makes an a sound. Aleph, the literal word aleph, this is what it looks like. Here's the kamatz vowel here. We'll get to that in a second. Aleph. Okay, so we have the kamatz under the aleph. That makes an up sound. It's very important to remember, it does not make an a sound. makes an ah, very ah. So when I transliterate it to me, I don't know how to you, but to me it sounds like an ah. Ah, ah. That's what it sounds like to me. Makes sense? So, kamatz, it has a softer companion called patach. Without the little tail on it. Truth be told, we will interchangeably use them as the same. This is supposed to be softer, softer, but we will use them the same. Okay. So this will also be an sound. Some people will try their hardest to stick to the right way, but we will use the same. It will sound like an and it's called a patach. Sorry for the lovely sound. Let's write it. And as you can see, patach also sounds like an patach. Sorry? That's actually also a word. Patach. Let's write it down. A male who has opened something. And for the sake of the common language, when it's male, I'm going to write M, okay? So masculine or male. Let's say Max patach. Max opened, okay? Max is a male. Max opened the door. Max patach delet. Okay? Let's write it down. Patach delet. Delet. Patach delet, open the door. So Jason patach delet, Jason opened the door. And for female, it will be patcha. So Phyllis patcha את הדלת, patcha delet. Patcha, let's write it down. Okay, so kamatz and patach sound, for the sake of the matter, the same. You will not hear a difference in Israel. That makes an sound, okay? Patach, kamatz. We have the example of aleph, the way the word is called. Patach, patach. Any questions so far in the classroom? Any questions back home? Doesn't sound like. Can I erase the board? Continuing on for next vowel. You'll see repetitive sounds all over because we no longer use a bunch. To me, it makes things easier. Hopefully for you as well. Our next one are tsere and seguro. You've seen me write them a few times by now. Both sound the same, much like the patach and the kamatz. The bottom one, segoro, is supposed to be softer. The way they sound, as you can hear from how they are said, is segoro, Okay. To me, transliteration, it sounds like an PH. Eh. Does that make sense?
I think it's opposite to that from the photo where it's three dots.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Good thing you pointed out, because as you can see, I don't care. They sound the same. I made a mistake right here. As you can see, Israelis don't mind it. But yeah, they will sound the same. To me, it will sound transliterated as an EH, sound. Questions?
So. Softer, which one is soft?
Softer is the one with two dots, but again, I don't want you to try and practice the difference when speaking.
No, it's so that when listening, you tune to what I'm hearing.
This will be softer. I doubt that. I can't pick up on it, to be honest. Yes, ma'am? Mhm. So here's the thing, just like with the sheen and seam, when it comes to these differences, I'm teaching this to you so on the level of, okay, keep in mind, but we are using something simpler. Okay, so these two will be okay, sound. Questions at home before I'm continuing on? I'm continuing. Your worksheets have vowels on them, lesson 1, 2. There's a part where it says translate. Definitely say it out to yourself. If no one is listening, say it out to yourself. Practice, practice, practice. Let me see this real quick next. So for example, exercise 5, exercise 4. Exercise 4 are only letters, but I really want you to try and how it translates, how it transliterates, how it sounds. Okay. Continuing on, we have Shva, we talked about him. Shva. Okay, so not shu, not she, not sha, not whatever. Shva. That's also a hint as to what it sounds like. As we said, those of you who remember, this has no sound. So no vowels. I will read this as an I don't even know how to transliterate it. Yeah, no sound. So no vowel, or the way it'll sound is really like a consonant. Does that make sense? Questions about Shva? Let's see if I have one.
Yeah, no, that would help.
Let's see if I have one here. Maybe I do. Let's hope so. No, I have one.
Oh, they're new job.
Let's say I want to annoy someone on purpose, okay? I want to annoy someone on purpose and I'm deliberately doing it. I'm doing what's called as davka. Oh. Davka. On purpose. Yes, sir?
It's funny because there is a synagogue software program called or synagogue management. And and this is me.
Yeah.
And it needs to annoy someone.
Well, it means on purpose. It will mean on purpose, but we can use on purpose. Yeah.
So this
Davka.
This doesn't mean to annoy, this means on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. It's deliberate.
But as you can see, the Shva here we do have the kamatz and the patach here. Davka. Davka. It's well transliterated. Okay, so davka. Questions? Comments? At home? Yes. Let's say we have a different vowel, you mean?
Well, there's nothing there, there's no vowel at all.
So here's the thing, when we have no vowel, so just like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know the word, I will still read it the same. You're right that many a times we see it without the shva. Let me give you an example for that, going back to the Shema. There's no vowel under the I. The reason for that is because the sound is carried from the mem, Shema. Okay, so in this case, we do not need to give it a vowel or a shva. Here, because it's in the middle of a word and we are using it directly, we will add a shva to remove doubts. Does that make sense? Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay. At home, if you're not stopping me, I'm assuming that you have no questions. If you do, by all means, unmute and just jump in. I am continuing. Then, as you can see in the picture, we have two vavs. As if you remember from our first lesson, I told you vav would usually come with a vowel next to it. These are the two. Yeah, which also repeat with other vowels. How fun. Let's get to it. So we have vavs. This is a vav, not a nun. I'm making it big. Either like this or like this. Yeah. Note on the picture on first from the left on the top, that vav with the dot over it. That says cholam. That's a difference in the transliteration I do. I will write it cholam. Cholam. Okay? KH, not CH, cholam. That's cholam. Okay, or for my cursor here, this one. Okay. This one, as you can see, cholam. It makes an O sound, not an O, O. Not an O, O. Maybe OE actually. Oh, 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 shalom. Let's write it down again. And here I won't have a shva as well, ma'am, because it follows the cholam. Shalom, shalom. We have our sheen with the dot here, and here's the vav, the cholam. Shalom. Note that it's not shalom, it's shalom. Going back to the tonality thing, and that is exactly the difference I'm trying for all of you to catch. Shalom, and we have shuruk. The companion underneath with the dot here is shuruk. And I'm deliberately writing it with double O's instead of U's. Shuruk. Okay, we have a hint here. This says ooh. Okay, so double O. This will be equivalent to of double O. Um,
Shavuot,
sorry,
Shavuot,
Tavua,
Shavuot. You expected on the word Shavuot, Shavuot.
Shavua. Shavua is a great word for you to use for this. Shavua, I'll write it down. It means week. Shavua. No shva because it's carried by the shuruk. Shavua, I'll transliterate. That means week, a week, or just week. Okay? Days week, not fatigue week. As you can see, the ayin is not shavua. It's supposed to be shavua. We say shavua. So keep in mind that. We have the shuruk here. Shavu. Shavuotov. And Shavuotov is actually a very good, let's write it down here. So Shavuotov Shavuotov. Good week.
It gives us both versions of the vowel.
We see the cholam here and the shuruk here.
But,
Please do.
on the Shavuot, you got Shavuot, shouldn't, IN have at the end of it, Shavuot, as right now, it's like Shavuot, like return, Shavuot.
Yeah, so because there's no vowel, you mean?
Yeah, it should be a vowel.
So like this one, or up. So the reason why we don't, and this kind of goes back to the history of it, that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked it. When we emphasize the ayin, think about it in the ancient, right? If you put a kamatz under the ayin, which is already very throaty, it's gonna sound different. Because here's the thing: if I say shavu'ah, it already sounds like a different word, shavu'ah, which means an oath. Ayin is kind of specific in the sense that it's almost like a vowel on its own. It's almost a little bit more full than aleph. Here's the thing, you know what? If this helps you understand, I will write this. I can tell you that in the word it doesn't have it, because then it already gets into the realms of being a different word. Here's an anecdote. Because this is specific, I'm gonna find a better explanation for next week about this and refer back to this. Does that answer, sir? Any other questions? And I was waiting for this. So we have shuruk and cholam. Remember, cholam, the way it sounds, oh, cholam, that's how it sounds. We have shalom with the cholam, tov with the cholam, and shuruk, which means u. They give us a hint, shu, u, shavua, week, shavua tov, good week. Any questions? Any questions at home? What's the time if anyone has it in front of them, so I'll know how long I have?
8:05.
8:05. So yeah, we're doing good. Okay. And then we have chirik and kibbutz. Note that I did shuruk and cholam together. Those last three. So chataf segol, chataf patach, and chataf kamatz. These three I am now moving my cursor around. we are not using. I brought them so you can see there are other versions. Obviously, they refer to mixed sounds. Okay, so if we have a kamatz patach, it used to have a sound, now it doesn't. It doesn't. Same for the rest. And what was it? Chadaf Segol. You may notice that I need to look back to remember how to write them because I never used them in my life. We don't use them. We do use all of these up until shuruk. And here's the thing, there are other vowels other than this. But I figured, okay, let's not overcomplicate things. If you can believe it. Last, we have chirik and kubutz. Kubutz is repetitive to shuruk. Just for the sake of getting it out there. There will be 3 dots diagonal. Like this. Line. So 3 dots. This will be an oop. You see it in the presentations in the word examples. Onward.
What's the sound of that again?
So this is the oop. This is oop. So double O. Like the shuruk. This word is do, good, ma, ot. I noticed that you rarely see stuff like this when you have like a vowel and then an O. Dugma ot. It's almost like a stop in the word. So that's why this is how I translated it. Dugma ot. This means examples.
So what's the difference between that one and Sharuk?
Wonderful question. A lost function. You will probably never just see this. Why? Because Israelis are so used to using this. Note, you'll probably see the dots for the shuruk or the cholam, even in words that are not vowel. So you'll probably still see them most often than not. We're lazy because let's say here you need to have the vowel in order to know that it's sound. Okay. Otherwise, it's just a daled and a gimel, a DG, dig. Okay. So what we will use most often than not is this, just so people can read it without the vowel, but it's the same. Okay. We have it here in the word dugmaot, examples. Does that answer, sir? Sure. If you need another explanation, please.
Nope, that'll do.
Yep.
So if you were going to use the
We will use
3
this.
dots, you'd use if there wasn't, what is it?
A vowel.
A Bob, yeah. There's no Bob there, then you'd use the 3 dots then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the difference is really us trying to be more understood for people not reading with vowels. But yeah, this vowel does the same. It's an U. Okay, so double O, do, good, ma, ot. No shame when at home, or being okay. So what's this letter? Okay. What's the vowel underneath it? Okay, so that's do. Okay, this is a gimel. It sounds like a good, right? What's this vowel? It means no vowel, right? Okay, so do. And then what's this letter? Ma, do that. Do exactly that. There's no way to remember other than doing that. This works. That's what I did with English. Worked. Questions about kibbutz? Questions at home about kibbutz?
I think the only time when you get people 3 dots is when they don't want to put that D, like say, D.
Exactly.
Don't want to put the D, so
exactly.
like caboose.
Exactly. Well said, sir. I'm gonna continue to our last vowel, and then we can do examples. If we have time, we will do the particle the. If not, the next. And the last one, we did all sounds except an E sound. So we have chirik. Note I transliterated different. It's literally just a dot underneath the letter. It will be called chirik. I'm intentionally exaggerating the transliteration. Chirik. That's an E sound, so double E. Double E sound. Let's think about it. That's here, sorry,
Cheek,
the word cheek?
with double E.
Yeah. Chirik. Let's give an example. The word evil. We have our ayin that is no longer throaty here. And here we see the yud behaving as an I rather than a Y. This is not I here. This is either. So we have the ayin, the yud, and our resh, equivalent to R, equivalent to I, equivalent to E, let's say. Either. Transliteration. Either. This means city. City. Either. And technically, because the R doesn't have a sound, it's in the end of the word, which is why no one will bother, but it's technically either because the resh doesn't have a sound, it's either. You won't see the shva underneath it. Israelis are lazy. Either. Let's have another. As in, it kind of carries the sound for the ayin, kind of either. So it's right to say that we can also remove it, and it will still be either like this because of the chirik. Remember, we read without vowels. In order to make it more obvious, we add the yud, either. Okay, but it is true that without the yud, it's still either. Does that answer, ma'am?
Yep.
Thank you. Any questions at home? Very good. So let's do another example. The word seal. Yeah, Samech. Same idea. It can go without the yud, but we use it just to be obvious. Seal. This will be a pot, like to cook in a pot. So it's not a sear, it's sear, a pot. Okay. Here? Yes, sir. Good. Pointing it out and making sure is great. I want you all to remember the letters by heart. It's impossible from 1 hour and a half. Please stop me for everything you need to. And by all means, everyone is very welcome to call me or email me during the week. Please do. I'm trying my best to answer immediately. Questions about chirik? Questions at home about chirik?
How exactly do we use this again? I'm confused.
Okay, so I'll repeat it. So here's what it looks like. You have the dot underneath. Its functionality is a double E. Okay, so
Okay.
here's Aleph, for example, with the chirik will sound like an E. Okay, I would read this as E.
Okay,
We have some examples here. We have ir means city, sir, which means pot. Yeah, it's a dot under the letter. Does that answer, sir?
it's a start. It's
Okay.
gonna take a while to grasp. It's been a while since I've studied this, so,
Yes, sir. Well, I'll try to repeat as many as often as possible and
Yeah.
maybe get a better explanation.
your screen is better this way because it's hard to, with the very small screen on Zoom, to see what you're writing. So this large screen is a big help.
You mean this, sir?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
what
Thank you very much.
basically our display at home, we're catching you on a very small screen for most of it, so I have to magnify.
Mhm.
So when you made the change, you just brought up, you enlarged the screen, so it's much easier to see now.
Okay, so, sir, if you need me to, so that's because I was sharing my presentation.
I
If you
understand.
need me to stop my presentation so you can just see my screen in the future, just tell me.
That's
Okay.
fine. Yep, we'll work our way through it.
Thank you, sir.
In English, that word would probably could help us compare to like irregular or
This one?
the I, yeah, or illogical. So you can get a pronunciation of how that's used. E.
You're actually very right. This specific word is an irregular when it conjugates very much. This is, I use this word because we will use this word in Israel. Yeah. Sorry, is that not what you were trying to say, sir?
Similar, but he was looking for a word, how we would compare it to, how it sounded, like the word irregular or illogical or illusion.
Mhm.
Read.
So the word here, right? The word here, that's actually they're very similar to fizik. Here. If you take off the H, it really becomes ear. If we do it with an Israeli accent, it will be ir instead of ear. So yeah, exactly that sound, either EA or double E. Make sense? So yeah. That concludes our alphabet and vowels. Please, for the love of God, practice them at home. I will try my hardest to send more practices. I know one worksheet is really not enough. I'll try to make more as I go forward. And send them out. I do have some more videos, not for today. I will send them out because I know once we leave, sometimes you're like, oh, how did he say that again? What was the sound again? This is a video I'm going to send out to you all via email. I'm gonna share screen so you guys on Zoom can see as well. This one, as you can see, learn Hebrew with Hebrew Pod 101. Hebrew Pod 101 are good. I'm not in a hurry to recommend people. These ones are good. Kara listens to this every day on her commute to work. They, as you can see, this specific one is including dagesh, the emphasis. Dagesh and nikud. One note about this, keep in mind, transliteration is not a language. Transliteration is an attempt to sound like we do. Yes, sir?
They can either see your screen that you're sharing or the
Okay.
laptop, not both.
This is the emphasis, the dagesh we were talking about last class. So this video has the dagesh, it has the nikud. One note about it, about the transliteration, different people transliterate differently. The idea is the sound, okay? Questions so far? Questions at home? Okay, good. Let's do some words then, I guess.
Actually, I have a question.
Please.
How important is it to know things like the names of the vowels?
No, not at all. Not at all. Remember what it sounds like.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I stick to grammar rules because I don't want to teach you something that's not right. But I definitely want you to remember what something serves as rather than what it's called.
Great. Thank you.
Great point. Thank you for that. It is now 21. Maybe I can do the particle that. In my worst case scenario, I'll just refresh it like next class. One of the most important particles. One of the first one I learned in English, actually. How to say the. How to acknowledge something. How do you do it in Hebrew? This is exactly how. It's very easy, which is why I'm insisting to do it today, even though we've done a bunch. You will see a hey in front of the word. Let's say the room, hacheder. A room is written like this. Cheder. We have a sere and segol, making it sound like an eh. Cheder, which means room. The room is ha cheder. Okay, so the room, hacheder. Exactly. Well done, sir. Let's say the synagogue, habet knesset. So synagogue actually translates into two words, beit knesset, which means house of gathering. Remember that notion thing? We speak in notions. It translates directly into house of gathering. We will understand it as synagogue. Emphasis, the geshk ne. Set. Synagogue, Beit Knesset. Let's transliterate. You may notice the Knesset, our parliament. How do I acknowledge it and speak about the synagogue? Ha, Bet Knesset. I add the H in front of it with the kamatz. Ha, Bet Knesset. Ha, cheder. Cheder means room. The room. Ha, cheder. Let's think about another example. The passport, ha dalkon. Remember the gesh. Kolam. Dalkon. Ha dalkon, the passport. The passport, ha dalkon. Okay. Ha dalkon. Ha dalkon. Ha cheder. Ha cheder. The room. The synagogue. Ha beit knesset. Ha bet knesset. Make sense? Today was a lot. I promise you needn't be deterred by this. I will say practice, practice, practice. What we are now getting more into functional stuff like actual words. We will soon be able to actually say things. Start compiling short sentences, which will lead to bigger sentences. We will have more vocabulary building too. But yeah, practice, practice, practice. I know you don't have to, please do. I'll send you the stuff I said as well. There's no way around remembering, okay? And I'm excited that we are here because we're finally able to speak Hebrew, or at least start, okay? So we have the particle, the, hey, ha. Gonna write it down even better. It is on the presentation. Let's see if I have it better on the presentation. I'm gonna share screen. Listen to. Oh, by the way, if you look at this screen right now, why is it not sharing? Wait, I'm gonna screen one. Why is it not changing on the? No?
On your projector,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's something on your computer, your settings.
Can you see me moving the slides?
On the screen here and on
Good.
Zoom,
Good.
we are seeing what you're seeing on your computer. I don't
Let's
know
do-
why, the projector is not telling you the difference.
What? I mean, it's not even showing when I'm stopping it.
You want me to try to see if I can do anything with it?
Maybe I should just unplug it and plug it back in.
I don't think so.
Yeah. No, okay, yeah, maybe if you can come real quick.
Ask that?
No. And now I just stopped my share screen at all. And oh yeah, I think this is why. Yeah, because of this.
There you
No,
go.
yeah,
But now you need to share screen so it puts on Zoom.
Yeah. thank you.
And if you go to full screen on your Zoom presentation, so
Can you see it now on Zoom? Okay, so this is like a small exercise. Obviously we can all read it. Have you ever wanted to see what it would be like to read English with Hebrew vowels? That's actually not how you read it. It's how, have you ever wanted to see what it would be like to read English with Hebrew vowels? Sounds familiar, right? Sounds like Noam, because Noam thinks in Hebrew vowels. I remember I said that Noam's Hebrew is actually gold to her. Noam's English is gold to whoever wants to pick up on
yeah.
Hebrew, because that's a window into his Hebrew, sir. He thinks with the cholam and the chilik and the tzeren and the segol. That's how he thinks. That's what he is expecting, and he reads English like he would read Hebrew. I'm continuing. We don't have time to do this today. Definitely next week. And the definite article, hey, we spoke about it. It's a way to acknowledge. It means the. I want to talk about the passport. Ha darkon. I am adding a particle to it, just like in English we have the, except this one joins the word. Okay, so it's not separate. It joins the word. Kind of like an add-on. Alone, this would mean room. This is that room. That's about it. We did a lot today. The rest of the letters, vowels, and particle hey. You will hear hey and this a lot if you watch the movies and in the series. Ha ha ha. We always say that. You'll notice it very much. That's about it. Any questions or concern, please, sir?
Since we're on particle H. Hey.
Yeah.
It also be used as, like, almost shit,
Mm-hmm.
almost shit.
So it can be used as to explain. It can. It kind of begs a conjugation, which is why I don't want to get into it right now. We will also use it, for example, to speak about a person's origin. Let's say Clarence the Wyomingite. Clarence Wyomingi, which is how we will say it in Hebrew. You will see it a lot. There's definitely more to it than just the. For the sake of right now, this is what we're talking about. Yeah. If there's anything, and no, not any more questions, this is where I'm stopping. Yeah, we're kind of over time. That's about it. At home, any questions?
Nope. Thank you. We have a lot of study to do. We'll continue it.
Well, if you need me for any help or anything, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. I emailed my number and email. I'm gonna probably tomorrow send out another email with other cool stuff. I also showed Stephanie here our a virtual Israel tour that I'm gonna send out for your enjoyment and enrichment. But yeah,
I will upload this.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And get it to you as quickly as I can.
thank you, Jason. Jason also said just now he will upload the recording of this class and have it on our synagogue YouTube tomorrow. That's about it. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Everyone, have a wonderful evening.
Whatever about. Yep, later.
Go back
Yeah.
in the kitchen. So if anybody wants to take a few bagels or a bag of bagels.
I'm gonna end the Zoom session now.